Hello, everyone. My name is G. Welcome to the arena. Today is Hump Day. We're going to be working on the Pocket Founder app, specifically trying to really implement the slides for the pitch deck and the component pieces that go along with it. We're also going to be working on a mock press release. So, this is something that's borrowed from Amazon. Jeff Bezos used to have his teams write out mock press releases to kind of frame people's minds around how would you communicate what's going on to the customer, and what would the customer's response be in an ideal case, right? So, just like how we look at products and we say, hey, how are products going to be used by people in user stories, but also how do people feel about branding? How do people feel about different types of actions within your product, and how that might affect NPS to word of mouth, so on and so forth. It's part of what the press release does there. So I'm gonna be working on that. I guess we could also be looking up, if we have time before we do the mock press releases, maybe take a look at some of them in the past, kind of read through them, so, pick out what was really important in it. There are a lot of great companies out there that do really great press releases, obviously biased towards the top companies, right? But maybe taking a look at historical ones as well, ones that got a lot of pub. So we'll be taking a look at that. So really excited to get back to working on code. Really experimented this Monday on doing content live on stream. And it's hard. It's challenging. I'm really off the cuff and don't really, plan out scripts of different things. And so when it comes to doing recordings and thought processes and different types of things, especially when it's on stream, it's live, those types of things, I think it's challenging, especially when I tried to record the dev update live on Monday. I thought it was really hard to kind of both juggle the fact that I'm streaming, but also I'm doing, a multi-take video. So I think that it's important to do. It's just not something that I could do on stream. So I'm going to take a look at the Monday schedule. And as we can take a look here, right? So this way. Content Monday, we were trying to record the developer update. I did a couple videos. One was an unboxing of a product that I had gotten. It was an Xbox controller, and then I was thinking about how to do the unboxing of this NVIDIA microcontroller, right? So this is a AI in a smaller chip form factor. Unfortunately, you connect it into a monitor, right, via HDMI. I have no idea how to stream a monitor that's not connected to the computer that I'm currently using to stream. So that's going to be a challenge. I don't know how I'm going to be specifically doing it. I got a little dongle attachment for my desk. So this is a strange contraption, but basically you put your phone here, and there's a clip here to basically clip it onto ideally anything, but in this case my standing desk. So connect my phone there, could point it at the screen, kind of take a look at that type of stuff. But we'll see. I'll experiment with different things. Just try to change up the streams, because to do coding streams every single time, while I love it, slice of variety would be nice, especially with content. Tomorrow, Tech Thursday. So I got this really cool new idea that I want to play around with. It's been an idea that I had for a very long time. Just talking with people, it seems like this idea has already been done, but just so that I can get used to the tool set, I want to do it anyways, right? Even if it doesn't turn into an actual thing, it'll give me the fact that, I'll be able to learn, and by doing it publicly, maybe through the scrutiny of the public, people can backseat me and tell me how to do it. The idea is, I really wanted to work in the 3D manufacturing space, right? So with 3D printers, that type of stuff. I thought it was always cool. I'm not a mechanical engineer by background, and so usually in my mind, right, mechanical engineers, they're the ones who learn how to CAD and then they go on and work on 3D printers and different forms of manufacturing, right? Whether it's in a CNC machine or otherwise. Well, there's plastics engineers at different company or at different schools and those types of things. There are a lot of hobbyists who come from a computer science background and work on CAD. But when we think about 3D printers, that's probably the biggest, blockage, right? The creation of 3D models to be able to put it on a 3D printer. You can improve all the UI you want. That input that you're putting in is still the 3D model that you need to print out, right? Someone has to create it at some point. You can create an Amazon dashboard, which was a startup that I tried out with a couple of really smart students from Northeastern. They were rock stars and are now working at like Tesla and elsewhere. So that was a good eye on talent for me. But ultimately, try to make a marketplace around 3D models. It's really hard with the cold start problem, right? Trying to just find people to populate, especially some people with like a highly technical, not highly technical, but technical enough background in 3D modeling, especially related to being able to print out the 3D model. There's a lot of environment artists or, video game designers who do like 3D stuff in like Blender and otherwise. But like CAD and, doing the models for 3D printers, you have to take it a step further and think about like manufacturability. What are the supports that are needed when you build something, right? In a 3D world, in CGI, you just do whatever, and it doesn't really have to obey the laws of gravity, right, for the most part. So, when you look at it from that lens, right, we got to create supports, we got to make sure the material's right. All those factors go into, the whole cohesive experience. So, it's obviously a major challenge. There are certain ways to go around that, right? So you can try to find the object in real life and take LiDAR and basically do laser scans of the object and produce a 3D object. That's great if someone's already done the grunt work to do it at one point, right? Or someone has not, it's not a computer generated or computer created object, like it's an artisan project, like a piece of clay or, a piece of construction somewhere, right? That someone's created on a pencil and paper. So, an architect creating a blueprint, that type of thing, right? It made me think, right? Like, that's a manual human process at some point. And when I hear manual human process, I think that can be automated somehow or can be mocked in some particular way. That a lot of AI ML is built around the fact that we're just doing biomimicry. We're trying to mimic something in nature. And so if humans can do it at some point, then we can probably get some form of close enough approximation. So long story short, for tomorrow, we're going to be looking into how to leverage LLMs, natural language, in with computer generated models. So 3D models generated by LLMs. So imagine the replicator world that we have in like Star Trek, let's say, for example. Someone says something, the replicator makes it, right? And you just imagine a world where you say, hey, I'd like, talking to your 3D printer, if you will, if it's voice enabled. Hey, I'd like to have, a Rubik's Cube. And then it, generates the model of the Rubik's Cube and asks you, hey, does this look right? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't. You can, in natural language, if it's connected to an LLM, make an adjustment. I don't really like the colors, you chose like red, green, blue, like orange and yellow. I think that's the pretty normal things on a Rubik's Cube. I don't actually have a Rubik's Cube, so kind of a fake nerd in that sense. But, maybe you want a different color scheme, so you can like provide that in natural language. Or, hey, instead of a Rubik's Cube, I'd like a D20, right? Like one of these, right? D20 dice type of thing, right? Like, I get my nerd license back. It's just different types of descriptions that you can make about different things, and the computer can generate it. And by training the training the system to manufacturability, you can create a pipeline, an automated pipeline from someone saying, I want something, generation, can produce it at lower cost with a 3D printer, see if it looks right, we'll make some adjustments, you speak to it in natural language, makes the adjustment to the existing model. The loop is a lot easier than, a traditional, person with CAD has to go about, learn the software, and so, it's just an idea that I've toyed around with. But the key thing is, obviously, there's GPT, but I really want to try out some of the other models, especially the ones that are open source, and try to apply it. I've done some research. There's some GitHubs that I'm going to be taking a look at from different LLM projects that are related to 3D modeling. But I also want to take a look at Facebook's Llama, which is open source and something that I haven't played around with and has been getting like good enough reviews. And from a startup sense for me, like if it's good enough and it's free, right, that piques my interest. So that's going to be for tomorrow. Very long-winded explanation. Already wasted 12 minutes on it. So let's get back to the main thing for today. Today's hump day. It's supposed to be middle of the week. We're getting through it. We're going through it. So let's get to what we're going to be working on. So let's go to the wireframes again. So we have done this. We've completed this off stream. So this is now done. Let me change the color real quick to green. So we're good there. I actually finished that off stream. The add button needs to be connected. The edit slide, I've created the base of it, but it's not done yet. So that's something that we can do. I actually added something. So there is now the pitch deck title here. And then there's like a little cog gear, and I'll show it in a second once I get screen share up. This right here, this is a cog. I know I can't really draw a cog very quickly in Excalidraw, but that's for the settings for the pitch deck, right? So for right now, it's just editing this actual title, but I'm sure there's other settings that I could add, right? Like setting the appendix point or visibility and all those different types of settings that we're just future proofing for the future. It was actually really interesting because I had a kind of internal debate with myself of how to do the settings. So because this screen right here is horizontal, right? We've changed the orientation here. I was like, do I want the settings to reorient back? Well, no, that doesn't really make sense, right? So it's a challenge of building a settings page for a horizontal screen. And I tried to do some research looking at like YouTube, right? Videos is a really easy use case of like how do they do like horizontal editing in a settings based interface. So they use a lot of modals, right, and little like drop down menus and that type of stuff. It's hard because like let's say like edit text, right? That's one of the parts of the settings screen is to be able to edit the title, right? And I did think about doing it in place like where it is, but in my mind it was probably better to just flip to a separate screen. So that's actually true. I don't know why this piece of code is randomly there. I must have control V'd it at some point, but let's just grab a horizontal. This one's cleaner. So let's just grab that, put that there. So this is the settings screen. So pitch deck settings, white. Alright, so this is not the edit zone, but we actually have a scroll view, so it extends down the bottom, and this is the I'll call it settings zone. I didn't want it to extend all the way right. I didn't know if I wanted to do anything, but in practicality, I constrained the width, but it can go right. The thing was an arrow to leave, so we do have like a little arrow to leave, right? And I think it just says like there's a little header. I'm looking at it, so I don't know why I said that, but like pitch deck names settings. Oh, there, and then you have the constituent settings down there, and one of the settings is a text field to edit the text, and it has a little check mark where you can add it, and it has a placeholder text of like new pitch deck name, blah blah blah, new pitch name. There we go. So that's done so far. There's more stuff that could be added. I don't think it's actually necessary for the MVP to go too crazy into that. So this goes here. And actually I'll just do that and then turn this into a double arrow because it goes back and forth. So cool. Let me open up Discord on my phone so I can do the screen share. I'm going to call myself. Start a voice call. Alright, I'm getting a call on Discord, I think. Let's see. Maybe it'd help if I actually opened up Discord. Oh no, Discord's right here. Haha. Join the call. Alright, cool. Share screen on my phone. Let's full screen this. Hit myself here so I don't hear myself on my phone. Alright, so as you can see, oh whoops. Let me throw this into a separate thing so I can easily alt-tab to it. Come on. Internet, no! Or is it sharing? Yeah, it is. Okay, there we go. Awesome. So as you can see, if we flip back and forth, that is this, right? And you can do that. I haven't actually tested the text field input. I actually wrote a new piece of code here to do it. Yeah, there's the text field input for the pitch deck settings. With the arrow there, so if you hit the arrow, it'll change the name, and then you can set name to empty, so basically resetting the name. Is there anything else that I need to do here? So we change the pitch deck name. That's done in build thing here, so long as it's a valid pitch deck index, so we're pulling from a list of pitch decks, so obviously the list has to be greater than 0, less than that. Or, if new name is equal to 0, then you return. We're not doing whatever we're doing here, which is to create a copy of the new pitch decks, set new pitch decks at the index that's provided here to new name, and then store it in storage. So, seems pretty reasonable. So yeah. This should work. So we go back to the thing here. I am concerned a little bit about how this appears in horizontal. There's more space on vertical because the keyboard's like about this much. If you like flipped your head over, there's about this much. So yeah, there's less real estate there. So there might be a thing where like I get rid of, like, how would I do this? I could get rid of the scroll view, so all you'd see is like test settings, but then open up like a tiny modal on the top with the thing that you're focusing on. Gonna be hard to figure out how to actually do that. It's probably gonna need like use ref, and then I set a ref to the text input, and then when it's on focus, um, uh, it's complicated. I could also like have it be like edit name being an option. You hit the pencil, right? That's often the like edit a name button. Hit the pencil, and then that stuff stays, and then the little text input here. I don't know why I'm pointing at it with my finger. Can't see what I'm pointing at. I have a finger right here. So edit name will go here with the little pencil. You hit on the pencil. This part here that you can see now will go up above in like a little modal, and I can put in like an absolute position. This was like padding of like 60, so it'll probably be like 50 with like a padding of 10. We'll make it like in line here. And so yeah, that'll probably be what I do in the future. This is not the biggest of deals. You can still see the text. So right now the name of the pitch deck is obviously test. So if we wanted to change it to test 2, not test space, test 2. Alright, moment of truth. Here we go. And if we go back to the other thing. Alright, well that didn't change. So we're gonna have to take a look at that. Pitch deck preview. The name here is past here. Uh-oh. I'm not confident about that. What's going on here? Pitch deck name is not updated. It's because it's not. Is pitch deck name used in a bunch of different places? It's used here, and that's it. So instead of, I don't know why I created this as an explicit thing. I'll just do this. And then put this here. And what was the default condition here? Yeah, it's just nothing. So instead we're going to do deck index greater than 0. And then do that. Otherwise, pass in null. Or undefined. Null is probably better. There's that. Oh no, not great. So what's wrong with the deck index? As you can see, it disappeared there. So we're going to have to find our pitch deck name. Deck index should still be the same, right? So we're going to console.log deck index. Of 0. So there's pitch deck. Is the index. The index is greater than 0, less than 0, greater than that. Name. Should have passed a name here. Name is this. That's interesting. But it says test 2 here. Which is pitch deck. What if I go out? Yeah, there's test 2, and then this one's not getting it. Yeah, no, it gets it. So why isn't this passing? Deck and I don't know. This is weird. What in the world? This is deck name. This is also deck name. Okay, so we'll do a quick console.log of deck name to see what this is. That's null. What? Oh, not greater. Greater or equal to 0. God dang it. Greater than -1. Cool. Test 2. So as you can see, there it is. And if we go back, hit test. Bang. There. Why did this happen? Well, yeah, so that means it's not a... No? Didn't update? Alright, we have a different update issue here. What is this? Item.name. It's pitched X. Well, that's strange. Yeah, no, that's wild. Just for something simple. I actually also noticed something here. I would like for this value here so if pitch deck equal null, there. Yeah, there we go. So then you can edit the name here, right? So I don't think I was showing it. So there's that. So, you know, if you change it to 2, there, then, you know, with the click here, that changes here. And then that doesn't change there. And then doesn't change here. But it's changed now if you go back to it. So that means there's no refresh. And then for this one, I have no clue why. Okay. Alright, so it's just a refresh problem. So, I am not... Doesn't re-render because it's not a state. It's a... I don't think. Dang it. I don't actually know how to fix that. But it's not too big of a deal right now. I'm not going to let this railroad me. We'll move on. Log that as a bug and write it down. Actually, I have a handy-dandy board there, whiteboard there. So I'm going to use that. So go back to this. And grab a marker. We'll just write it. Where are the bugs? Bugs list. And it's actually written right. So it's not reversed on stream. And I hope you can still hear me with my back turned. So one of the bugs is that name change doesn't update in certain UIs. And that's specifically the select pitch deck and the pitch deck preview. So we'll fix that. But that's not the main point of today. Today is actually getting screens. Actually getting so that when I ship this weekend, will actually allow for someone to create a pitch deck. For once. Let's just... Sorry. Someone shot me a text. Oh my gosh. There's 3 people watching? Oh my gosh. Bless you. Don't. Thank you so much. 3 people watching my terrible content. Alright, so back to the wireframes. So this needs a fix. I don't know. Do I have I have an emoji thing. I could add an emoji. Let's see. To like fix my crap. So let's see. Is there like a wrench that I can use? Wrench. Ah, look. See? Need to fix this. Idiot. Okay. So we need to do the edit zone, which is when. Oh my goodness. That is crazy to see it rotate like that. When you hit this, this is actually the edit screen in its current form. We've learned from last time that the reason that the thing doesn't stretch all the way to the bottom is because I need to set it to height 100%. I actually saved this preview. Did I change anything? Made a lot of changes, so let's see, what else needs to be saved? Select slide template. Oh, it was because I was moving stuff. It's not because I actually changed anything. But the container here. Escape container. Well, that's not. I believe all I need to do is just add the height of 100%. I don't need double of these here. And ta-da. Unfortunately, this X, you can't really see it like it's on my phone. Like, you can see that the X is too far to the corner, so we're going to add a little margin to this escape container. So, margin top of 10? 10 sounds good. And that would be a margin left of 10 as well. And so, I guess you can't really see it. There, the X is in a little bit easier to press. It's not clipping through the side there. And hey, feast your eyes on an iPhone 11 that's going to be replaced with a 15. Once I know that it doesn't explode. Alright. So edit area goes there. I don't actually know what I'm editing, so that's not the case. I also realized that I was able to get to the edit slides when there is technically no slides. So we're going to fix that. This just blindly goes there, which is not good. Slide info. So what would the slide info be if there is no slides? Oh, did I add that accidentally? Where did I add that? Here? Yeah, no, it needs to go there. Well, in this case, if slide info equals, or does not equal no, or rather undefined, then do it. So this should not, okay, it still goes. So there is a slide info being sent. I'd rather it not. Slide info. Yeah, I sent that one, but that doesn't make sense. Because there is nothing. So, we're going to do no. Cannot read property name of no. Where? In pitch deck preview. Where's slide? Oh, here. Well, there is none. Oh, I see what that's... Yeah, so what we're going to do is slide info not equal to undefined. Or, actually, it's no. So since I had created this explicitly to no, then we're going to do that. If it's not equal to no, then get the name. Otherwise, no slides. So we go back. No slides is still there. If you press it, nothing happens. It does do this. I'll actually disable this thing so that when you press it, there's no change, right? You can't type it. Like I'm pressing actively on this thing, right? Nothing happening, as you can see. All right, cool. So, the only option then that you can do, why am I? Okay, don't bring up the phone. Go back to this. So if I hit this thing on the top right, it pops up a little help thing. This is the pitch deck editor. Click the plus button on the bottom right to add a slide. That's the only help message, but hopefully I'll remember to add conditionals. That'll let me create a different help message depending on, what the user has already done and what they need to do. So it'll be a different message per thing. Not that hard. All right. If I add the plus button, I believe this crashes because the template stuff has not been created yet. Or it does this. That's different. Okay. I was not expecting that. Oops. It is actually a modal. This one. Have I done this yet? To do like a horizontal modal? Because that's why it's... Alright. Well, I need to actually change the style of the dialogue. That, align self-center. I think it's already aligned center. I more so need it to be like half the width. Really? Not percent. Right? So okay. Then we need the align self to be the center. And we need it to bring itself to the top. So justify self. Is there like a top? Top. Flex start. Copilot's trying to help me here. But maybe margin. Adding a negative margin top would be hilarious, but not what I should be doing. Could do top of like 5 and then position absolute. That brings it up, as you can see here. So like the problem was, if I just take this part out real quick, it's too short, just like me. So instead, you add this stuff in, brings it a little bit to the top, but padding's a little fat in the top. So, just like me, padding top of 0. that do anything? No, it doesn't. Mm, 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 mm. Name your new slide. Is there anything that I can do about this? Gosh darn it. I guess not. I mean, that looks fine, right? Like, you're just typing that in, and then what happens? You hit submit, and then it does what? Oh. Okay. Name.length is greater than 0. This helps in testing to, create the thing. So obviously if you hit done, here's the create and cancel. Cancel works. You pop it open. You can hit done and you hit create. All right. What happened? It broke. So let's see here. On press. Yeah. Let's see. This one. Is that the last thing that it does? I guess it does. So that can be that. So add pitch deck slide. Name is name. Slide info. Oh. That was where the error came in, right? So here, I'll let you look at an error screen once in a while. Pitch decks : new pitch decks. Slides of undefined. Oh, shoot. That's why. Because this is... Which one is this? Add pitch deck slide. Yeah, I don't know why I just added that in without the index. So, what was it? Do I have a selected slide? Yeah, selected slide, comma, that. And then set that to pitch deck.length -1. Would pitch deck have changed before that? Has happened? No, this is an async function here. And so this async function may or may not occur before that. So pitch deck.length is not, or it would be the old length. If you add a slide, the pitch deck.length would be increased by 1, so you'd want to set it to this instead of -1. So you don't want to be the last one because you're adding 1 to the end. Except if it was the first one, in which the 0th index of the list stays the same, because you're not adding in the first index, you're adding in the 0th index. The selected slide just happens to be at 0. That makes me think, should selected slide actually be at -1 to start, and then when you add something, it gets incremented? But then it would still be length, right? Because this triggers first, so if the length is initially 0, then you set it equal to 0. So, okay. Where is selected slide used? And if selected slide is -1, then we have issues. Disabled if selected slide equals to 0. Less than or equal to. And yeah, you can't delete if there's nothing there. And then the right, if selected slide is equal to length -1, that makes sense. Or pitch deck length is 0. Yeah, okay. I don't need to add the pitch deck length is equal to 0 to this one. I don't think, because selected slide, that's about, yeah, actually, it doesn't hurt to add it, when in doubt. That's bad engineering. It's fine. Edit slide, slide info, pitch deck. What am I doing here? Edit slide takes in slide info. That doesn't seem right. Maybe? Now the pitch deck preview would definitely not be able to, oh, it does. Interesting. Well, this doesn't make sense then. Well, it would be the pitch deck at the end. This would be at length, right? No, it would not work because the one hasn't been created yet. Oh, jeez. Alright, so how do we get around that? Well, we could do deck, we could pass deck index and then selected slide +1. And then have the edit slide 1 not work. Or not work. Have the default dummy answer until it actually gets something valid, in which it would render the right thing when the user actually gets there after all of the asynchronous stuff catches up. So, yeah, it won't be slide info. This won't be slide info. So I'll actually bump this thing over here just so we can remember to edit that later. I'll close this just to add a little bit more room. But we got to change the pitch deck preview here. So the slide info not equal to no. That technically could be the... Oh, wait, no, because I'm changing the actual wordage. So slide index, and then you have deck index. Or actually, I already passed in deck index, so this makes a lot of sense to pass in slide. Slide index is equal to -1 if you don't pass in 1. If you're a dingus, you forget to do it. Slide index is greater than -1. And you're going to pass in slide index, and then deck index, deck index. So you pass those two, and in the edit slide, you'll grab it in here. So it'll be from the build context. You're just gonna grab it from pitch decks. Use context, not quite Copilot. It's in build context. So that's there. We're gonna slide that up. I might need the text thing in the future, so I'm not gonna get rid of that. Slide info greater than -1, and it's not slide info, but instead it's slide index. Slide info.name. Well, I guess you could just now correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think there's actually any negative repercussions from calling this a lot, right? Or grabbing this from context. I don't think so. So we're going to do deck index at the slide index. This makes it so that deck index is -1, so we're going to have to check both conditions. Deck index is greater than -1 or slide index is greater than -1. Then we can do both. Dot name. Otherwise, no slides. Cool. Settings, deck index. It's great. Maybe I'll add in the future slide index to the settings in the future, but I don't need to care about that now. Just if I wanted to combine the slide settings with the pitch deck settings. I'll do that in the future. All right. 4 o'clock. Probably switch over to do the press release at 5. So another hour of struggling coding with George. Fun times. Something just came in. I can't wait to use the Mexican alien picture as a meme template. If you don't know, it's a very popular meme template. Just pull from X. Someone sent me that, which I thought was hilarious. Good stuff. Yeah, so pitch decks is declared, but it's not going to be used. It'll be used in the future. Don't you worry about it. So let's just make sure. Slide info doesn't exist, so I'm still using slide info somewhere. It would be here. This would be slide index is equal to -1. Name of undefined. Okay. I'm getting this. Actually, I have a screen for that. Nope. To let you see what's on the phone while I do all this stuff. So that should work there. Let's see, cannot read property name of undefined. And where's that? That's in there. That's mostly because I'm still doing slide info, not index. That still doesn't make sense why that would be appearing. Oh. It's because I did an or, not an and here. It needs to be both the case. Slide index is equal to selected slide. And selected slide should be -1 initially. If, actually, pitch deck dot length is 0, then do that. Whoops. Else start at 0. I think that's sensible. Start at the beginning, unless there's no beginning, in which don't start anywhere. Okay. Cool. Why is that updating? Did the screen share stop? Alright. Let's fix the screen share real quick. There we go. So yes, let's see that should be all functional now. So we're gonna be testing this part out here. So we hit plus. It opens up the modal slide name. If I just hit, oh, this looks disgusting. Let's bring that down. Tab this stuff over. Bring this down. Bring this. Okay. That much is there. So if we hit done, it should create a slide with the name new slide. It'll be at the, oh crap. So be selected, oh god, selected slide deck. Oh, what? Why is it doing the index, actually? Just realized that. Why does it need, oh, it needs the deck index. Deck index. Not the selected slide. Selected slide is equal to pitch deck dot length plus 1. I'm actually realizing that, like, oh, is it because deck index isn't changing because it's a, right, this needs to be a state. So set deck index. Right? Because so long as this is a hook, then it'll do hook-like things and refresh when it changes. Let's, whoa. Well, I'll take a look at that later. But that shouldn't affect this now. So you add 1 to the length, you close the modal, you navigate to edit slide with slide info being the slide at that, right? Oh, dot slides. Well, what if it doesn't have any slides, right? Yeah, it wouldn't have any slides, so this wouldn't be edit slides. I would need to create another component then. Yeah. Right. Why am I at... It's late in the day. Alright, we need another screen. So stack.screen. So that's why I'm having a mental meltdown here. We need this screen here to be able to select the template. Why does that go vertical? No, keep it horizontal. There's probably a reason why I did it, so I'll leave it there. But you can select a template off of one of these screens. So this actually isn't... So I think I said that I wanted it to be like a section list. Because these will be the headers on a section list. So section list is like it has a header and then it has the items of a list. So it allows for you to chunk different lists apart with the headers separating the list items. So like intro, background or story problem, maybe, like, yeah, story, the problem, that'll be a header. Value prop solution will be a header. Financials traction is this financial traction. Just like the main gist is just money. Money and business model is that section. So maybe just business model. Or business model traction, I guess. That kind of encapsulates it all. And then team. Yeah, just team or company details, I guess. Because there's the deal and the contact information, so just company info goes there. Business traction, value proposition, solutioning, the story, the problem, the intro. I've taken a look at this like a million times. I actually wanted to change this to add in like a little thing for like traction. I toyed around with it. Like in the future, I'll want to have multiple different types of pitch decks or stages. Like if you're a seed stage, you'll probably want to talk more about your traction to date and then future forward projections, right? So there's a revenue projection there, but not every company, I'm cringing as I say this, not every company may focus on revenue. I almost said should. Not every company may focus on revenue. But, there might be different things for different types of companies and different priorities that a company has, right? If we go back to ZERP, we're going to go back to the CAC LTV grind and, do the whole give me money because $1 in gets you $10 out, right? And so when you can get hordes of money really easily, you can just play that. Now that money is expensive from an interest rate perspective, and so the money supply is tighter, then it's harder to justify the $1 for the potential of $10, right? Before, it sounded that was probably the best deal that you had available during a zero interest rate environment. Nowadays, with rates at 5% and above for like money market accounts, you're safe, right? Along with bonds, higher than that potentially, then you're taking a high flyer risk for some of these startup returns. So, anyways, traction, money. Usually ARR is a nice number that people like to look at. MRR, if you are literally so early that you have not run for a year, number of users. That's probably the two. Obviously contract value and some of that other stuff that's very B2B focused. Anyways, this, like, the more I look into this, right, the more you're like, there needs to be variations between stuff. But I'm going to focus on just actually getting the slides done. Like, at least one template done for the broadest type of startup. Just looking at this, right, with some form of traction, and if you're focusing on ARR, MRR, and like number of users, stretch it a little bit. B2B, it'd be number of contracts, right? Number of logos that you're throwing up there. So maybe more of a B2B focused pitch deck, right? So like, again with like the story slides, right? Hey, this is a founder. Their name is Evan. Evan is the CEO of a emerging startup building space gas stations. He's looking to raise money, but he's struggling on how to build a pitch deck. He's been academia the entire time. He can write the best papers in the world, but having to create a pitch deck, he doesn't know where to go. And that leads to him going to investors with slide decks that resemble something that might appear in academia. Very information dense, a lot of figures, trying to be as thorough as possible, and he bores everyone, and ultimately his company suffers for that. No funding, not a lot of interest, everyone's bored, nobody understands what the opportunity is, what his innovations are, so on and so forth. So Evan's in a really bad place. He's probably about to close down the company. He tries to find as much help as possible online, at different programs, right? But, it's not available for everyone, and Evan's included in this. He might be in the Midwest where, an ecosystem isn't readily apparent, or his university doesn't have the same core competency. They're not able to support him from an entrepreneurial perspective. There's no VC network. He doesn't know anybody. He only knows people in academia whom are not helpful in terms of like pitch decks. It's so hard for me to or rather, it's just describing someone's situation like that. By the way, just like taking a step back from like the pitch, like I'm so privileged to be in a position where like I happen to be in a really vibrant startup ecosystem right in Boston, and is slowly rising as like one of the places to rival SF in New York, right, in entrepreneurship. And when I go out to different events that are more broader facing, I see so many entrepreneurs that I'm like, I've never seen you around, and they're like, oh my gosh, I want to do more of this stuff. And when I talk to them, they don't know a lot of the stuff that people who are more ingrained in the startup ecosystem take for granted. And so, that's a great story that I can present there in a pitch deck, right? And that's what I want for the user. So the reason I created that example and kind of talked about that is I'm saying that type of stuff. What needs to go on the slide to support that? Some images, some flavor, but minimal, because the focus should be on me and my ability to storytell, right? So when we look at this, and let me get out of the view for this real quick to just focus on the slides themselves and the format, right? So what I'm talking about, Evan or so, right? Evan or so, like when I'm talking about like a pitch deck story, I'll be like, here's Evan, and there'll be Evan's not real, so a stock photo of a guy who looks like a startup founder, right? And then like, this is Evan, like the thing actually says, right? Brief intro, like this is Evan, he's the CEO at blah blah startup, right? And then the rising action, he wants to fundraise for his new company that does, what did I say? Space gas stations for some reason. It's actually an interesting idea, right? But capital intensive. He needs to be able to go out and raise. And unfortunately, he doesn't have, I've already said all the problems. And the climax, ultimately, he's almost ready to give up after trying all of the existing solutions that are not getting him anywhere. I've been a founder for a long time. I've helped a lot of founders build pitch decks, and I have built companies that have helped founders fundraise. And, directly attributable me in emails that I've seen from people, like the number is probably in the millions that have been raised because of me. So that's a unique insights part of value proposition. So if we're just talking about, selfishly about Pocket Founder, right? Unique insights is part of my unique value proposition, right? Other forms of UX in presenting the pitch deck are also value propositions, they might not be unique value propositions. So, you might pick and choose about which ones you want there, right? UI UX is a value add in some particular way, but just imagine that like that's a copyable thing. So, um, it can really help you build a moat, but that moat, you know, it's not the most defensible thing there. Story resolution. So Evan starts using Pocket Founder. He's able to build a pitch deck super easy. There are tools in Pocket Founder to, help him practice his pitch and to help him understand, you know, what is the expectation level typically in the startup industry, right? And, in the future, we might be, this is when the founder blab starts, and even I fall into that trap. I was just about to do it, right? We'll start adding in, like, the fact that you can, like, add in a mentor, or go search for a mentor, or investors will be able to go onto the app and, like, start, perusing through pitch decks that people have created within the app to find companies, right? Kind of like a superhuman, but for pitch decks, right? And here's how it works. Transitioning to like a demo. This is probably going to be the hardest part. That's going to take me figuring out how to access a camera roll and do it in a way that seems reasonable. Camera roll also not the best, I'm sure, for founders. Like, founders don't want to be, like, on one hand, like, you're screenshotting, like, if it's a mobile app, you just screenshot it, and then you add the screenshots from the camera roll into a series of slides, right, within the Pocket Founder thing. And then if there's a video down here, if there's a video, then it's already in horizontal, and you just play the video, right? So yeah. So this is the process to create all the slides and that type of stuff. Sharing will be a problem for another day, maybe another Wednesday for me to go out and figure out video. But for right now, let's try to figure out before 5 and I start the press release, start working on the press release. Just kind of think about the template here and how we're going to do that. So section list, I don't actually show it here, but it'll be, it'll be like header 1, right? And these two bring it down a little bit lower. Header 2, and then header N, right? The nth header. So this one's header 2, right? And as I've stated, the headers are this stuff along the sides, or at least this portion at the bottom here, here, and here. Those are the headers, and then the templates are these in here. And I don't know how to like represent this that well. I'll figure that out. All right. So let's go to the code. So name is equal to, what did I call it? Slide templates? Yeah, select slide template. Oops, there. There we go. I wonder how transitions would work. Like, I wouldn't want the gesture enabled, but I might want the animation. Like, I've turned off all animations for all of these screens. It's not a thing that I should really be focusing on now, but that might be something for the future, so I'll just write that down. So, not a slide, sorry, screen transitions. I don't know if we want to include that or not. Okay. So we've added that. So what is in slide templates? Not much, I don't think. Oh, we got an arrow left. Oh, that's... Oh, I must have made it before I created this. Or no. This one. The label header. These two should be functionally similar. Header label. Flex direction row. It should be space between, because space between pushes them to opposite sides. So... Or no. Oh, it's because... Yes, I do want to push this off to the... Oh, okay. I see why I didn't use this one. And it's because we have the extra button on the right side. So... I gotta figure out how to make this transition a little bit better, but... Oh my gosh, it's the behind the scenes screen. There we go. So we hit the plus button. It's that. Is there anything in this to cause it to go haywire? I don't think so. Just hit this. Create. I knew it. I knew something would break. Pitch deck or deck index is greater than -1, and slide index is greater than -1. So there's another conditional that I have to add in somewhere. What was this part here? So selected slide and slide. So selected slide, I changed it from 0 to 1, and it hasn't finished creating the slide yet. +1. Oh no. Yeah, why would it be +1? Should just be the length, right? Yeah. Done. Still not right. Because the length would be 1, right? Yeah, so it'd be -1. Jeezy me. I'm just messing this up over and over again. Alright, never mind. Still not working. I hit create. So that's the on press there. And it should navigate. Oh. Should be something like that, actually. So let's go back. It still didn't work, so we haven't changed anything to fix it yet. Selected slide. So we're gonna use console logging to figure this out real quick. Console.log deck index. Slide index, but let's just add in some text so that I know that which one's which. Deck index. For all the non-engineers, this is called scaffolding. Someone's caught speeding outside of my house. Nice. Get him. Alright, so it's 0, -1 right now. I think that you can see it, right? Yeah. You can see it. Cool. So 0, -1. So when I hit plus here, still 0, -1. I create. What's wrong? It's 0 and 0. 0 and 0, and that's why there's nothing there. So it doesn't know what the name is. So should I add another condition that, pitched X at deck index at, just to be incredibly or not equal to undefined. Let's go back to that. There we go. Phew. Alright, we fixed that. Where's the container? This thing needs a height of 100%. What did I do? I don't think I did 100% for every single one of these horizontal ones, right? Did I? Oh, it's because this one has a height of 100 from an inner one. But that only works if, there's no top header. Interesting. Yeah, and that's the main component. Yeah, so just it's expanding the height for the whole thing because I'm not nesting a view in there. That's fine. You can see the select button. It's a little tight on the right, so we're going to add in a margin horizontal of 10. I think margin left can be 10 because the icon button already has some margin with it. So margin right will be 20. Cool. And this one shouldn't actually be primary color. We'll create a tertiary color. Whoops, what did I get rid of? We'll create const selected template. Oh geez, I actually need to think about how I'm gonna do this. Yeah, that doesn't exist. I get it. I'll fix that. Yeah, I didn't actually think about that because the section list, I could do it by an index of the template in an array. I could do key value pairs, but then that would be tracking strings and comparing strings, which can be computationally expensive over time. But I mean, it's a one-time. It's not that bad. It's not like a repeated operation. Like each template could also have an ID, but then that would just be numerical. Yeah, I think you just track it by the index. I can't think of an edge case where it wouldn't be the index. So it'd be -1. You select, 0 for this one, 2, 3, 4, n. Or, sorry, 0, 1, 2, 3, whatever. So yeah. This would actually navigate to edit slide. Yeah. And so I'll probably split this into a separate file at some point, but you know, I'm just thinking about the structure of how this will go for a slide, right? So you have the title of the slide, you have some form of fill in prompt. So when we're talking about like fill in the blanks here, that's the fill in prompt, which will be a list of stuff. We'll deal with that later in the future. We'll have image, which will be a string. I have to actually think about that. I don't know how, how to best like store what the image is. Like if you're drawing it from a camera roll, the app ingests it. The app might save a copy. Because, I can't expect someone to keep a photo that they use in a slide deck in the thing. So. Man. I've never actually stored an image in, like, an iPhone storage, right? So, that's going to be really interesting seeing, like, how you would retrieve it. I mean, maybe it's like every other object, right? It's just something to figure out. Pulling an image from camera roll and then saving it into the app storage on someone's phone, so it's not uploaded anywhere in the cloud. We're not doing any server stuff. So interesting. We'll figure that out in the future. But and then layout. So I imagine layout's going to be a list of stuff. So like item ID. That'd be a coordinate. I don't know if it'll be coordinate. Maybe it'll be X and Y, and that'll be the absolute position of where it is on the screen, if you will. But maybe from... I know a lot of people have like different opinions about it, right? So if we look at like a phone, right? Like a lot of people start from here. This is 0, 0, and then go this way, right? And even like if it was in portrait, right? 0, 0 starts here, and it goes right. But you do have like when you do position absolute, you can start from the bottom and go up. You can go from the top and go down, right, left and right. And it's just adjusting the values accordingly. So, I don't know if I'd want to use all of them. If you're holding the phone sideways and you're doing the slide coordinates, if you come from a math background, the Cartesian plane makes the most sense. But most people think from top to bottom, left to right. So I'll probably do the coordinates as top and left. Top offset, left offset. No height and width. Doesn't matter. Because it doesn't matter. And so this should actually go in an items array, and then, item index 0, this thing, and then we'll just have like a switch statement that'll, pull the thing based off of a corresponding thing. So you have an item, and then you have its corresponding thing. Or wait, I guess maybe it'd be better to just combine it. Yeah, it's probably better if I combine it. Don't need that. That's the title of the slides, the layout of the slides. Do I need to know anything else? Fill in prompt. Well, I guess I'd have to have a type. I guess that, and then this would just be prompt. Right? And this would be a list of, like, you know, strings, like, this is, and then, you know, like, blank in all caps to denote a blank, right? Unless, you know, this is blank, who is the, you know, blank of, yeah, sure, blank, right? And then, you know, it'll just be a parser type of thing, right? So it'll just go through each element of the list, and whenever it sees just blank, then it'll know. So, yeah, I you know, it's just one of those things where you're like, I never foresee a template will ever need the blanks all capitalized by itself. So, we'll cross that bridge if we have problems with that in the future. But image img, and then maybe like image ref or something. Cause I don't know if it's a URL that's about to type out URL, but it might be an image ref instead. Yeah. All right. So we'll switch it to this real quick because we're mostly going to be working on code for this portion. Geez. All right. So that's just a template for one. This is actually a story slide, right? What did I label it as? Story introduction slide. I don't know. Probably some form of image background added to that. Yeah, Copilot. You almost got there. Yeah. So then this one will be empty. So yeah, there's that. All right. That's the header row. So what we need here is a section list. And I believe it's that. Need to actually look at some documentation real quick. No, it's looks more like a flat list. So we'll do this. We will need a render item. Oops. Const render item. So that's the individual list items there. I don't think I need the. I need this. And then const render section header. goes there. Alright, what else is there? So in the section list, we need data equal to data that is already pre-sectioned. Whoops. This should add an S there. See you somewhere? Oh, here. Whatever. This is actually templates at select templates, or selected template. I don't know if that's actually right. Oh, yeah, it would be more of a dot map. Oh, this is messy of what I'm envisioning, but I'll actually do it first and then worry about it later. So how the section list data needs to be structured is something like this. This one going there actually. So you need a title. So this would be intro slide. You need data, and the data corresponds to this list of each of the slides. And then same thing for this. It's probably easier if I just do this. Yeah, it's not actually problem slide, but I see what you're trying to get at, Copilot. Oh, yes. Too much. That goes there. It's not problem slide. What did I call it? Or actually, I think it is the problem slide. Story problem slides. Story / problem slides. Right. Render item. So this is going to be a touchable opacity. Not item. Shoot. I remember doing it at some point where you could figure out what section it was in the section list, or in the list here. Dang. This is this is challenging. I'm gonna think about this for a second. Whoops. Sorry, I'm just getting a text from someone. Alright. So the style for this is styles.title, comma, theme colors, primary color. Yeah, we have to think about the selected template stuff. Because the number's not going to be right. Well, why don't we do a quick Ask ChatGPT? Real quick. Here. So, how would you determine the index of a list item in a or the overall index of an item of a section list? See what it outputs and then adjust it as necessary. Just the way to use ChatGPT. Ah, crap, I have the Canva thing up. Stop generating. Canva, not a very useful plugin, by the way. Just want to note. Default, please. Give me this. Alright, we're going to have to refresh. How's everyone's day going? Hope it's going good. We're just waiting for ChatGPT to do its business. Every single time someone waits, I hope Microsoft stock plunges an extra $3. My goodness. Alright. Let's try it again. Get rid of this. Oh, it actually does start answering. I don't know what's wrong with it today. Well, we'll get back to that problem a little bit later once ChatGPT decides to get its head out of its butt. So the section header, I don't actually care about the section header. Yes, that looks reasonable. Oh, it uses the same header as that though. So I'll just call this section header. So data is templates. Render item is render item, yep. Yep. And then the key extractor. Yeah, I don't know actually. Usually I just do this. So I don't know what the difference is between that one, Copilot. Let me just check the documentation real quick to see if I forgot anything in the section list. I think that's it, right? Usually it's 3 items in a flat list, so section list should just have the extra section header. Oh, it's not called data, it's called sections. Interesting. There we go. Okay, alphabetize it because I'm that way. Yeah. So I think that should function correctly. On the other hand, is a different story. Let's see if ChatGPT is back. Back again. Oh my goodness. Oh, it did it in Python. God dang it. In React Native. We'll let him do his thing. You know, he's getting old and cranky. You know, it's only 1 year old. No, I'm sure 1 year olds are probably cranky in the same way. Alright, well that's the template there. Edit slide. So given that what we saw about the template, the editor area is a very special component. So slide editor. This is where the meat and potatoes goes. So basically it'll take the layout based off of the coordinates and the items that need to go in it. The slide editor. Oh my gosh. So like you imagine each one of these items here, they'll go in the edit zone. Get in the zone, the edit zone. Which makes this challenging. And how this is going to operate, but we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. Oh, did I make it so that if I hit that area and there's no slides, it creates that? I'm actually going to get rid of that. Alright. What you got? Add the counts of previous sections. What? Oh, item 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let section in. Oh, gotcha. There's sections and section index. I see what it's doing. I guess that could work. I think. Oh. Well, then the follow-up question is then how would I take that? Wait, so in this example, the render item function receives 4 arguments. Oh, it uses index of, that's why. Alright, sure. There's no more elegant way to do it, I guess. Section parameter. I'm really surprised that section doesn't have an index field, does it? Where would I find that? The full section object as specified in sections. Yeah, it's just an array of things. So, yeah, it doesn't have an index field. Interesting. Oh, and also it's this, not what I had. Whatever the heck I had. Where is it? Where did I put it? There we go. And then title. Who's there? And I did it lowercase title. Good. Alright. Well, we're coming up against time, and there's a lot to peruse there, but I'll do it on my own time. Instead, we can start looking at the press release. And press release not actually being sent out to the press, but more to an email list as well as to social media. So something somewhat digestible and other stuff like this. But before we do it, I'm just gonna go and use the restroom real quick. So I don't actually have an intermission slide, so we're just gonna use the streams starting soon thing. Enjoy the beats there. I'm gonna mute myself now. I'll see you in a little bit. are back. And we're going to save this real quick. I'll do a quick push to GitHub real quick. Have not done that in a while, so we're getting a bit of inclement weather. Bad weather is here, so we're just gonna make sure, just in case, that we're good. All right. It was funny. The best thoughts are sometimes on the porcelain throne, if you will. I was just thinking about the edit zone here, and you have a little escape thing on the top left, right? Which will take you back to here, and it's to go back and forth. So once you select a template, the template gets slapped onto here, right? I think that there's going to be a little like protected area, obviously here. So this is probably 50 by 50, but this is like the protected zone. So we'll send this to front, put this behind it, but this is the escape, but it's also like a protected zone. This brown part here. Obviously a little bit tighter around the X, but that'll probably be, I'll have to experiment with it, but it's probably going to be like, oh my gosh, I can't write. It's better if I type it out. It's probably 50 by 50. So when we think about like, what did I say, top and left, like you have to start from top 50 or left 50. And in fact, since it's horizontal, I actually don't know the scale, but I think it should be the same, right? It's just I think it's pixels, or I don't know if it's for sure, but we'll just call it for now 50 pixels, right? 50 by 50 in this corner. It's protected just because of the X. People can place stuff there, I guess, but in terms of like view, like this, you have to be able to escape out of the thing, right? So we're not gonna allow you to put something over the X to escape, right? Then you get trapped in here until you move it, which is not desirable. So I'm gonna have to think about how to put something on top. Yeah, I need to swap in the code. We'll just go back to the code real quick. I know we said we're stopping, but the editor needs to be above, so that in the render order, I believe it starts from top to bottom. So the editor area gets rendered first. It'll cover the whole screen, and then the escape container. I need to make the position of this absolute. So position absolute. And then top of 0. I just do top of 10, left of 10 instead of these. I believe that should work. So we'll test that out later tonight, and we'll take a look at it on, what is the thing on the schedule on Friday? Is it Friend Day Friday? Just kidding. I don't have any friends who want to hang out with me. No, it's a chill stream. Probably be more code, because I get to choose. It's my stream. Do what I want. This is dictatorship. So it feels good Friday. So, as if this stream could get any more chill, we're gonna do a chill stream. Maybe no structure. Oh, that's the worst. All right. So on to the press release. Let me just grab a document real quick. Here's Google Docs. Just switch to this. Click here. Alright. So press. Quote unquote press release, because no press actually cares. Press release 9/13-2023. Shout out to my mentor Adam, who suggested that I do this originally. Thank you very much to him. I think it's a great, tremendous idea. I actually was watching a documentary about the Apollo projects, and a part of JFK's, early, we go to the moon, not because it's easy, because it's hard speech. I don't actually know what the name of that speech is, but there's so many good parts to it. Sorry, someone texted me again. So unprofessional to look at it. But there's another part of his speech where he talks about, what was the exact quote? I think it was a long time ago, there was a great British explorer, George Mallory, or was it many years ago? There was a great explorer, George Mallory, and it was about him going to Everest, right? I think it was something about he was willing to die going on Everest, and the reason that he was going is because it's there, and we choose to go to the moon because it is there, and the stars because they are there, and all that type of stuff. It was actually a really beautiful speech, and I think that I'm going to take kind of cues from it. I was talking about, I think that obviously going to Everest and going to space is not at the same level as a lot of people making their startups. But to the perspective of a person going out and building a startup, it is as about a Herculean of a task, equivalent to a nation deciding to go to another celestial body, in my humble opinion. It is challenging, and people choose to do it, and I think people should be championed about it. And that's really what Pocket Founder is about, right? To really support people who are willing to take those leaps, to take those risks, knowing that it could lead to social issues, right? Being looked down upon because you might have failed, even though failure is totally part of being a founder and something that great founders embrace, that you're going to make mistakes, you're going to be in the dumps, some things are going to work, some things are not, and, as long as you're willing to be humble and introspective about it, it's part of the game. It's fine, right? And I think that it's something to be really applauded, and that you're willing to go out, and more often than not, in 1,000 defeats, you'll get one victory, and that's really all that matters, because the one victory, in the grand scheme of things, should take care of the rest. If not financially, emotionally in your fulfillment, right? I think oftentimes, even with Pocket Founder, I'm privileged to be able to support myself through one pivot so far. I might not be able to support myself through many more pivots, so I might have to put myself back into the dreaded job market at some point, which this is a wonderful time to do that. But I happen to be able to get in a position to work on the startup long enough to be able to pivot and probably do a couple more pivots if necessary, to accomplish it. And I think for a lot of companies, it's just working at it long enough, hard enough to find the opportunity and gather enough lucky breaks that you make a breakthrough, right? In every single one of my past startups, It felt really bad. We're not really making a lot of progress. Nothing's coming together. Oh, I happen to meet someone who puts us on a different track or opens up an opportunity for us or connects us with the right person who's for some reason willing to help, right? It feels crazy, right? And it feels almost like a fate has like shined upon you moment, right? When it happens. Sometimes it doesn't happen to people. And look, that's just tremendously unlucky. But you just stay in the game long enough, hopefully, to, get a couple rolls your way, if you will. So, I'm gonna look up real quick in this monitor what that quote is, and try to find that. So it was like something like many years ago. Many years ago, George Mallory, I think. The only reason I remember his name is because of the same as mine. G. Mallory. And I think he said the Great British Explorer as well. I'm just going to type that into Google and see what happens. Address at Rice University on the nation's. Yeah. So many years ago, the Great British Explorer. I'll just bring it over. Many years ago, the great British explorer George Mallory, who was to die on Mount Everest, was asked why did he want to climb it. He said, because it is there. Well, space is there, and we're going to climb it. And the moon and the planets are there, and new hopes for knowledge and peace are there. And therefore, as we set sail, we ask God's blessing on the most hazardous and dangerous and greatest adventure on which man has ever embarked. Those are actually incredible words. Kudos to his scriptwriter. I'm sure he had. His delivery is amazing, much better than mine, of course. But, gosh, that's chills, right? You don't hear that nowadays. You don't hear that anymore. People aren't really allowed to think in 10-year plans anymore. But, yeah, so I think just borrowing a piece of that into the press release. Not verbatim, because then that would be plagiarism, but just adapting some of it. I like one of the shirts that I have, right, is a mix of the quote, the crawl, opening crawl of Star Wars, right, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and I don't remember what it is exactly on the shirt, but like what is it? In the past somewhere else, right? In the same kind of text crawl font, right? So, it's just different ways of representing it. But I thought it was, it's the same thing that we got to do here. So, to British explorer George Mallory was why did he want to climb Mount Everest? Or why he wanted to climb Mount Everest. Where's Grammarly? I just saw the Google Docs autocomplete, but I lost Grammarly somewhere. I guess maybe it doesn't work on. It works on everywhere, even Excalibur, which I don't want it to work on, and it still works there. But I guess it doesn't work with Google Docs, whatever. He said, because it is there. Many founders embark on their own perilous journey with great courage and optimism. That's not how you spell optimism. To conquer their own Everest their own spotted opportunities because they are there. The problems are there, and founders are willing to devote themselves to solving tough problems for great reward. British explorer George Mallory was asked why he wanted to climb Mount Everest. He said, because it is there. Many founders embark on their own perilous journey with great courage and optimism to conquer their own Everest, their own spotted opportunities, because they are there. That comma is doing a lot of heavy lifting, I'm sure, but I will proofread it later. Probably with ChatGPT's help. The problems are there, and founders are willing to devote themselves to solving tough problems for great reward. Pocket Founder was created to service these modern adventurers. Some of this is cringe. I get it. We'll fix it later. I just need to get something down. This is very cringe. Pocket Founder was created to service these modern adventurers, to be their guides and navigators as they face the unknown. We're mixing space and we're mixing Everest here, metaphors, but we'll fix that. I just actually want to check to make sure you're able to see it. Yes, it is blindingly white. Is there a dark mode? Okay, I know some people like light mode. This is for you. You've been staring at dark mode for a long time, so I'm sure you're incredibly annoyed at that. But, alright, this is just for the light mode people. I am blinded. My eyes, oh my gosh. This is hard to stare at. I don't know how light mode people do it. Especially on a sunny day. You like flashbang yourself. Service these. Yeah, so this is actually interesting because when I first started Pocket Founder, like part of it was or at least the branding was like the Garmin for startup founders. Now nobody cares about Garmin anymore. So Google Maps for startup founders. Well, that people don't know what that means. You know, like your Google Map for your roadmap for founders starts getting a little crazy. I was like, okay, the startup GPS. So there's a lot of work and different things, and now more so, you know, I'm struggling with like the pitch deck thing because I'm like, is it the Canva but just for pitch decks? Which you can use Canva for pitch decks. It's not exactly that. There isn't really. I don't want to call it the TurboTax for pitch decks. That's kind of. I feel personally condescended to. Pitch decks are not something boring like your taxes. But I guess investors are like the IRS. They force you to do it. Maybe. I don't know. The analogies get muddled here. I don't think there's a really good comp one-to-one in terms of like an exact thing here. But, you know, part of it is like you're trying to navigate something. You're trying to figure something out. I don't know. Anyways, was created to service these modern adventurers, to be their guides and navigators as they're unknown. For the past, gosh, what has it been? 5-6 months? It sounds so pathetic. For the past 6 months, the team at Pocket Founder. This is team. You want to include Mr. Poke himself, right? The live poke, right? um, you know, that's the team. Look, fake it till you make it. As long as it's not fraud. Alright. So, the team at Pocket Founder has been feverishly. Oh, it's so hard. This is probably when the research on different press releases were made. I mean, this sounds like something that Apple would release, right? Talking about different teams and what they're doing. Or new gen Apple. I think old gen Apple would have been like, Steve is doing this, and he's building this, and all that type of stuff. I don't actually know, but that's just the impression that I get. That might be some modern, anti-Steve Jobs agenda people doing that. But in terms of this, I mean, I was toying around with the idea, by the way, like, and this is just maybe like me trying to boost up my own self-esteem by doing more self-esteem-y boosting things. But I mean, I am a team of one building this particular product. It's my vision. It's all that type of stuff, right? And I wonder, I mean, like, I've been toying around with it. Some restaurants, they usually do like blah ti blah by the head chef's name. And I wonder if I want to rebrand it as Pocket Founder by Geely. I have to look at like how certain people do that and the branding. But it's me putting a personal signature on something. So that's from the effect of like a personal brand perspective. Especially since this business has no outside funding. It's mine. So like, I can put my stamp on it. It's my choice. And it's the start of a personal brand for me in my early stage of my career. And then going forward, like, I could release a future app, and let's say Pocket Founder is mildly successful, and everyone's like, oh, yeah, Pocket Founder by G. Lee. And then, like, the next product, Pocket Build by G. Lee, which is the pivoting, the productivity stuff. I want to call it Pocket Builder. And, just have it Pocket Builder by G. Lee. And then, like, Pocket Connection. Or, Pocket Exchange. Oh, no. Pocket Exchange would be shortened to Pocket X. Ooh. And I'll leave X to a different person's branding. But, Pocket Connect or something like that. Pocket Connection's a little bit long. Pocket Con is the convention that will come, not so, or Poke. Yeah, I've been also toying around with, like, do I want to go with Poke? Well, I'm, as I can show on stream real quick. I know we only have 8 minutes. But, where is it? Do I have it on this computer, actually? I don't know if I have it on this computer. I might not. That this is going to be she is going to be accompanying Poke. So you have Pocket, right? Pocket's actually, the variation here with the double K's are actually a way, like, a female name that spells out Pocket. So that's why, like, there's Poke and then Pocket. and they together will be the two kind of main brand characters for Pocket Founder. So, um, you can choose whichever one to be your main primary companion, your own Pocket Founder. But you can't. I was like thinking, I'm like, how do I could make it like Poke B Pocket, but with a C, but that's not really as natural of a name. Pocket is actually a name for that women have, that some women have. It's more of an obscure name, but it's still a name nonetheless. And so, like Poke, it's more of a cartoony name, like a name for a fictional dog, right? You can see that, like it's like the same thing as like Spot or Stripe or anything, right? So, um, yeah, like there's gonna be Poke and Pocket, so that's why like I'm not wanting to go all in on like the Poke Founder thing. So like a good medium would just be full spelled out Pocket with a C Founder as being like the central brand. But I'm still playing around with it. Not anything set in stone. I know even the press release I use the Pocket Founder branding or the Poke Founder branding here. So I have to think about that more. I might change it to Pocket Founder. But also I'll give a shout out to this guy here on Fiverr. I really recommend him. Okay. He's great. I really think that he does good work, and he's super attentive. Unfortunately, I need a little bit more. I need more revenue to justify spending more money on different poses and stuff. But he's done really great work. You'll see the art for Poke and for Pocket be thrown around the app. But once I get the product done, get my 7-star rave reviews and willing word of mouth from my first test user, move on to second, third, and fourth. I probably will put it like, if I get 10 users and they're all at like 7 stars, that's when I'll move forward with more graphics and more stuff, like a it'll be like Duolingo, right, with Duo, and adding more of character personality into the app. And I'm very much leveraging cute dogs, cute puppies as a way to like create a distinct brand identity. But look, can't beat it. Join it. There's a lot of cute animals that a lot of companies can be using for brand leverage. Some people just like random blobs better, I guess. But so that's the start of the press release. Everything else is just explaining the situation, right? That like we started here with a productivity tool. We believe that a lot of people had really great value from it. Unfortunately, it's not enough to tip the balance into like being a paid customer and user. Hurts. But found out that pitch decks is actually, as I'm sure a lot of us are aware of, but like, something that like that's a good first wedge to build it, and then you can incorporate those productivity stuff later on. But for right now, just really focusing on the pitch deck stuff. So we're coming up against time, 5:25, 5:28, and I think we've kind of hit a good point to stop. So, boo, on full screen. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, being here with me in the arena. If you really like what you're seeing or hearing from me, and want to support me the best way, follow me on Twitch, twitch.tv/itmeglee with 2 E's on G, 1 E on LE. I should probably change it, but I've thrown it around all over the place. It's an old Twitch name, but itme G with 2 E's GEELE, and my YouTube. So there are certain things that are good on stream and some things that are not. And so obviously there's all the pre-recorded stuff go on YouTube. The stream VODs also go on YouTube. So if you're on YouTube, hello. You managed to make it through like a 2-hour long stream or whatever. Bless you for doing that. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. If you want to join the test for Pocket Founder, you like seeing what Pocket Founder is slowly becoming, then go to pokefounder.com, POKE founder.com. You can sign up with your email there, and I'll get you onto the test flight for Pocket Founder into the future. For the existing Pocket Founder users, I'm going to migrate you over to the new one. I'm actually creating a different thing. So Pocket Founder is going to turn into like Pocket Builder for the old productivity tool stuff. And Pocket Founder in and of itself will focus more on like the workshops and the building the pitch deck stuff that's currently in the incarnation. So thank you so much for watching, builders. I wish you the best of luck in whatever you're building, and thank you for watching. Have a good one.